Do you want to win your opponent's rook in the corner? His bishop is very good, so I'm going to throw in this in-between move. I'll take the bishop first, and then I'll take the rook in the corner. Let me show you how to win your opponent's queen in 8 moves. So my opponent needs the castle, but this will win a piece. So that's a very nice tactic. Then finally, we have an exciting finish. 10 seconds each on the clock, but who will win? Welcome to this chess rating climb. I will show you how to go from 1000 to 1050. All games took place on Lead Chess. By watching this video, you can take what you learned and apply it in your own games. Knight f3, d5 and g3. Bishop out to f5, bishop g2. King's Indian attack, let's go. Castle. 1, 2, 3, 4. My opponent is playing one of the best ways to play. D5, E6, bishop out. This is called the reverse London system. One of the best ways to play against this structure. Now, how to handle this? C4. I'm okay with this because then this bishop is open for business. C6, good move. Now I'm going to go B3. Now we have a pawn chain. We have a pawn chain here as well. This bishop will come to B2 to occupy that diagonal, controlling lots of squares. This knight can come here, then the knights defend each other. Maybe I get space. So my opponent has played a really good setup. This is one of the best setups I have faced with one of my opponents. A5, preparing A4 here is one way to react. Because I don't want to open the file, I'm controlling this. A capture can happen, 1, 2 can happen. This queen can also come in the corner. It can operate from A1, which I saw in a beautiful game with Richard Rapport. B6, okay. Very tense game, very close game. My opponent, well, in the opening phase, definitely not a 10-52, that's for sure. I would rate them much higher. Now, with the rook here, one option is to capture. Another option is to operate with the queen in the corner, which is a cool idea now. That's a very interesting move. Take, well, they get the center, you see. If the knight moves out of the way, the bishop can come back, and then bishop defends the center. My bishop doesn't attack it. I don't need to take yet. Now, if I don't, then e4 is a move. So my opponent is playing very well. Can I go for a tactic here? Just trying to think. If b5, trying to break open the structure. If take, I take in the center. And then I can go e4 to build it up. So you know what? I think it's time to complicate it. We have this impressive looking pawn chain. But the point is, if this capture happens, then I can take in the center. You can't take back because e4 will win the knight or the bishop. Shutting it out, but my opponent has forgotten I can take the pawn. Hitting the knight, it moves away, and then I can go knight h4. Oh, wow, okay. Fascinating. Planning to capture back, but now I can play knight h4. Attacking the bishop. Now, wherever the bishop moves doesn't matter because I'm going to play c7, and then here we go again. The bishop will take the rook in the corner. So, beautiful. And now, his bishop is very good, so I'm going to throw in this in-between move. I'll take the bishop first, and then I'll take the rook in the corner. And the bishop is just going to come back. By the way, once that rook is gone, now I can play queen takes. Ah, that's a good move. Knight takes. Knight c6. Now, what I can do is take the pawn, which defends the bishop. Or, what I could do, which is a sensible move anyway, is just to take it. But I can actually go for that, which is nice. With this, the bishop attacks the knight as well. White's completely winning, so nice geometry in this game. My opponent has forgotten now I can take with this. Now, if knight here, I can actually throw in bishop here, check. Nice in-between move, just to make sure I don't lose my bishop. So I'm winning, and my opponent has resigned. So that is a very, very nice game. First time we've seen this. And the bishop out to g4. Maybe later they want to play this capture. Queen d7. I can see my opponent wanting to go for that trade. But I've got knight e5 actually. Hitting both. I wonder if I should play it. Just to make this instructive. Because normally we don't get such a good opportunity. Yes. And now I can take the bishop. I can even go d4 to cement the knight, but his bishop's pretty good, so I'm going to take it. Now my opponent has wasted time getting the queen out. I am safe. I can even strike in the center with e4, c4 as well. Not c4 because the queen takes it. If I go e4, the queen's come off. That's fine with me. That's totally fine. And then we get this endgame. I wonder if I want an endgame so early. I think the answer is no. I could kick the queen away first. I'll go d3. I want to prepare e4. Now my opponent might be aggressive and get the h-pawn up. Open up, try to checkmate me, fair enough. You may be asking, why didn't I play e4? It's because I think the queen is a liability. Why trade queens when the queen is on a bad square? I've got two options now. I can go c4. e4 means the queen's come off. I don't want to play that. I want to just keep kicking the queen away. It's not on a good square. Let's play queen e1. This is an instructive move in the King's Indian attack because then you can go e4. The queen normally sits on e1. The rook is still next to the king. And I'm striking in the center. Now I've got a couple of options. I can take with the pawn or the knight. The knight is very interesting because after take I hit the bishop, but then it just moves back. Do I actually want that? You know what? I'm going to say no. I'm going to take with the pawn because this pawn controls these two squares. The reason I did that is because now the knight can come into c4, hitting the bishop. It's going to drop back. So I'm gaining a bit of time, and then this bishop can come out later. Bishop goes there. Yeah, fair enough. I think this is a very nice idea I saw from Kramnik, where, because there's a queen on e1, I've got this really nice tactical, well, this really nice move, which is b4. The queen sitting on e1 operates. So then you defend the b4 pawn. You also defend the e4 pawn. So I saw this game, this idea between Kramnik and MVL. It's a very nice game. Now I can kick the bishop away. I can throw in a check first, actually. But I think I can go c3 first, because where's the bishop going? If it goes here, then f4, you see. Now I can come in to d6 with check. Really, I should have played that check first. And now my opponent is in trouble because I can take that pawn. You can't go here because I get that one. So king, after check, the king needs to go to f8. Then I can take b7. So it's going very well. Knight can come back, I think. Even knight a5. And even bishop out is good. By the way, my opponent has this amazing move, which is rook takes. Take, and then the bishop can take in the corner. But I'm okay because the bishop can come out and attack the a7 pawn. So it'd be really funny if that happened. Okay, it didn't happen. Oh my gosh, the queen is trapped. How is the queen not trapped? h3 is there. Alright, I'll take this pawn. Yeah, because it attacks the rook. If rook here, then I'll go b5 to cement it. I've got 53 seconds, so I've got to speed up. I'll go e5, nice tactic. If a capture happens, then I can take back and then the rook in the corner will fall. So, hoping that happens. And then I'm completely winning. Perfect. We're in. We are in. So that's why I suggest, I mentioned it in previous videos, put your bishop on g2, play the King's Indian attack, because if you've been watching these rating climbs, how many times do I take the guy's rook in the corner? It's just too many times. I'm up a rook. And to be honest with you, I feel like I've done nothing special. Let's defend the pawn. My opponent was attacking it twice. Now, I've got 39 seconds, so I have to speed the hell up. Bishop right in the center, right. That's why. I'm messing this up. Right, let's get the file. 27 seconds.
Good night, William.
Good night. I've won both rooks in one game. That's perfect. Right, let's go. Queen. Right, I've got to win fast or else it's over. I'm taking the knight next. 1, 2. And that is mate. Queen here is mate next. Woo! Just. That was cool, man. That was cool. Sicilian, let's go. Pawn chain. Looks good. D4, open Sicilian. So we take it. Queen is well placed in the center, and this is the setup. 2 pawns in the center. With 2 pawns, you control all these squares. That's why it's such a nice setup. Let's attack the queen. When our opponent gets our queen out, their queen out early, we can attack it. Now I've got this really nice tactic, and I think I have to play it because it works. The reason this works is the knight and the bishop control that square. If I can make that work, I'm completely winning, and I believe d5 gives me that shot, because if take, I can pin the queen to the king. It's a very, very unusual tactic, and I believe it works. So my opponent needs the castle, but this will win a piece. So that's a very nice tactic. The game is not over, no way, because my opponent gets 2 pieces for the queen. So, to be honest with you, the game has just begun. Very interesting imbalance. Yeah, my opponent had to take it. I have no idea why they didn't do it. So we're going to grab the queen with check, and then we're going to go f6. Because then I attack the bishop, and my opponent really could have taken the knight a couple moves ago. My opponent can't take because the queen takes. Let's just kick the knight away. Can't come into center because of the knight. And that is a knight as well. So very nice tactic. Move 12, completely winning. Pretty cool. Knights defend each other, why not? Giving my opponent no chance. I'm just going to castle and make this as instructive. And the knight couldn't go there because the queen can take it. There was no shot there. Let's take another pawn. And we attack the bishop at the same time. And we attack that pawn. Now we can just castle. We are good. Very safe. Come back here, attack f2. Why not? 1, 2. So either rook. Okay, my opponent hasn't seen it. Good. And we'll go. Which one? Queen or rook? Both are winning. Queen it is. And then, how to make this instructive? Can I get the knight again? No, e7 check. There's no need to give them a chance. Let's keep the knight here. 1, 2, 3. So that's going to be winning. So let's just get that in. Even I can get the knight in as well. Knight d4 as well. Then here, then the queen mates. So I think that's more instructive rather than this 1, 2, 3. So I'm actually going to put the knight in the middle instead. If the rook come here, that's fine. I take it because then it's just queen for 2 rooks. Okay, now the knight come here, but I think I want to create this instructive moment. If b5 hits the bishop with tempo, and then the bishop can come out with check. It's either that or I go queen, knight here, and then we can team up on h2, but I think that one's more instructive. Just finding a nice, efficient way to finish off. Okay, but there's a knight there, so see, that's the funny thing. Do I take it or I just come in? Both are good. No, I want to come in. I can take the bishop, but I want to create a mate threat. So, why not? If my opponent takes the rook, it's game. Good. Here we go, mainline King's Indian, the first one in this rating climb. If my opponent plays e4, d6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we castle. The reason d6 is very important because you stop the pawn coming to e5. You can take it. Now we have a King's Indian. Now e5, well, we can take it. We can even retreat the knight. But I don't see the point in giving them a center because take, then the queens come off and white doesn't have a good position, so we take it. Now they can take with a knight, but then they haven't got a big pawn center. So my opponent has played an early capture. Now the queens can come off. I can even go knight here because then we are attacking that pawn. Let's get the queens off. And now I think we can attack it. And my opponent has blundered. That pawn is dropping. Only move I think is this, but then I will attack it a third time and there's no way for white to defend it a third time. My opponent has completely blundered in the opening and it's move 8. We've won a pawn. Good news. 1, 2, 3. Both look good. I can take with the bishop. I'm up a pawn, so why not offer a few trades? My knight can take its place. My opponent has to trade or else my bishop is just way too strong. I can't take this at the moment because of the knight, which is funny. Maybe my opponent can retreat. Yeah, bishop there. Now I'll just put my rook in the center. It's an empty bishop. I can always retreat it to trade off, so I'm not worried there. In the meantime, I've got a perfect bishop, a perfect rook, a perfect knight coming in. F4 creating a bit of a weakness around the king, so we'll just drop it back. I don't need to trade because I think I can use my bishop better than my opponent, so I'm going to keep it here. In the meantime, my bishop can come out to control a light diagonal. It's going well. Also, knight can come in the center. Oh, sorry. Knight can come here or here, both are good. So lots of options. 1, 2, 3. When the knight moves away, that pawn drops. If rook here, now I can throw in a check to destabilize the king. I know my opponent wants to come in here, let's say. I can always stop that. Rook here, fair enough. Now I'm going to check first. I didn't have to check, by the way. Now I can move the bishop. I can even play e6, which is an option. I'll go bishop here. I don't need the knight coming in. So, bishop there looks good. Let's trade rooks now. If take, then my bishop comes with check first, then I can take the pawn. I think that's very important. Now, if knight here, the funny thing is I can still take this way. That pin cannot take with the knight because I'm attacking the king, so that's cool. Now my bishop can sit right in the middle. I don't see why not, because my opponent wanted to get their bishop, so now I've got two bishops just slicing the board. Perfect. And my knight can join in. I'm a few pawns up, so it's good. Knight out wide. I might even go here, attack this pawn, but also come round that way. So yeah, I'm 3 pawns up. Should I throw in a check first? Let's trade. Now knight in. Let's just trade some more because I'm totally winning. I can even take that pawn. No. I'll just grab another pawn. There's no point. Now I can come back and trade if given the option. Also, I just run it down. Now it's time to give up my perfect bishop. Run. Highest rated opponent so far against a 13-22. Let's see what we got. The reverse London. It's one of the best ways to play against. 1, 2, 3, 4. My opponent knows what they're doing. Right. A good opening. And here c4 is a good move. Trying to open up the diagonal. If a capture happens, not a problem. Not a problem if the queens come off, because my opponent doesn't have a center anymore. We'll go b3. We're doing this pawn chain, 1, 2. We have a pawn chain here. We get the bishop here, controlling that square as well. It's a very healthy way to play. My opponent is playing a good game. We both have knights defending each other. Our pawn structures are both very healthy. My opponent has reverse London. We're good, man. We're good. Now that knight move doesn't really do anything, because if you take, I'll just take back. So that knight move isn't great. I can put my knight in the center, but I'm going to get my rook in the game first. Queen there. Right, I see. Oh, placing the rook on the same file as the queen is normally a bad idea. I could set up an opening trap. If I go bishop here, bishop d6, take, and then c5 forks it. So because of this trap, I'm actually going to try it. Now the best move, just to show you, bishop here, the queen moves, and then I'll do something else, maybe even knight here. Now a good move is just knight in the middle anyway. Then the bishop moves and then take, and then you've got to take back with that pawn, which is very interesting. Right, let me have a think. Which move should I go for? I could even take, because they can't take with a piece, because I go e4 winning a piece. I think this move, this move is too cheap, and we're watching these videos not because of cheap tricks, because of long-term play. So I'm going to take the pawn. Now if my opponent takes with a knight, well that's their problem. I can play e4 winning a piece. Now I expect to capture good. And now it's okay because I can put my knight in the center. Let me just have a think. Yeah. Knight here looks good. Attacking the bishop. When the bishop moves away, I've actually got this option. The bishop can sneak out that way, which is very interesting. And I think I'm going to play it. Yeah. Which is a bit unusual. Now, the knight and the bishop control this square. The important thing is this bishop is controlling this wonderful diagonal. And my knight might come in. By the way, now this knight moved to the center. I'm going to put this here. We are slowly building this position. Another thing to talk about is this pawn structure. It's very important. Keep it tight, because then this bishop has no scope. I think I'll get this piece in the game first. Go knight here. I think my opponent wants to play this, so I might go knight here. Oh, I think I've got a tactic here. Knight b5, using the pin. So if knight here, the queen moves to e7, let's say. Take, I get the bishop pair. Very interesting. And you know what? Because the position is open, I am going to go for that tactic. Yeah, the queen has to go here. I'm going to take the bishop, get the bishop pair. It's open, and I've got wonderful chances to get an advantage. I think white has an advantage anyway because the bishops slice the board. 1, 2. Knight can come in. As I mentioned before, these 2 pawns, keep him there. Keep him fixed to restrict this bishop. Yeah, good move. Only move anyway. Take. Now I get the knight in the game. Controlling this. Here. Okay. Now we keep playing. The game has just begun. Now where to put the queen? Probably put it on d2. I don't see why not. Maybe rook e1 first. I mean, there are too many options anyway in chess. So. Yeah, let's actually put this knight in. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Because that knight went to d4, and now its brother's come along to come to d4. Right. Queen there. Queen out the way. Now the bishop can actually sneak out this diagonal. Can put the rook here just to defend this first. Get the queen in, maybe. Queen out to g5. Let's get the queen in, why not? Controlling a few dark squares of her own. Maybe the knight can come into f5, that looks pretty dangerous. Knight f5, even queen g5 as well. Then the pawn moves, then the queen moves back. Rook e1 is normally a good move just to defend a point where you're not really sure. But I don't need to defend it, I'm going to go knight f5. Defend it this way, this bishop is open. Let's go here. Now, I'm hoping this is going to be an instructive game because the bishops slice the board. And the position has opened up. So if my bishops can control the board, bishops being better than knights, then we're good. Now my opponent has forgotten the bishop can take the rook. Now in instructor moment, I could just retreat it, but no, I'm going to take the rook. That's why I put it there. Let's drop it back. Now this can come back. It can even stay on this wonderful diagonal. I expect to move like rook here, and then I'll just go rook here. No weaknesses. Everything defended. Pawn chain here. Pawn chain here. Queen there. Good move. Yeah. Bishop back. Now if knight here, I'll just kick it away. Now I need to open up the position. Let's go e4 because I've got 2 rooks. My opponent only has the rook and the knight against it. So I need to open up. Take is perfect for me, so I expect d4. Now e5 might be a threat later. Option is this, f4 and then e5, opening up for the bishop. My queen and rook have a couple of files to work with. Even the e file belongs to white as well. 1 minute 02 against 1 minute 53. White is winning. Let's go f4. Attack. No check here because of the rook. Right, let's go. Put the knight in the middle, that's fine. So maybe I was being a bit too fast there. Put the king out of the way, just to avoid any checks. I might even go a4, a5. I don't want to take because my bishop is really powerful. a4, a5, hit the knight. Destabilize the knight. No discovery, so I'm going to go a4. If there was a discovery, I would have moved the queen out the way first, then continue with my plan. You don't really want the rook against. Okay, now the queen moves, but where? Pick a spot quick, I need to speed up. "39 seconds, gotta speed up. "36 seconds. Good move. Now I have to take with the queen. If I took with the king, there was knight f4 check, so my opponent was trying to trick me with that. Right, let's go here. Oh, I've just blundered my pawn. That was really silly. But anyway, we keep playing. Yeah, that was dumb. Right, king out of the way. Right, 21 seconds. Damn. It's not easy now. It's not easy. Let's run him down. My opponent has a solid knight in the center. Damn. Let's go f5 next. Right, 18 seconds. No more talking. It's getting serious now. Check. Then swing it over. Mate. Also e6. And my opponent's short on time. So perfect. Check wins. Winning anyway at the end. It was tight. Can't take because I get a queen and mate. So that's game over. Yeah, that was tight, man. That was tight. If you enjoyed this video, you may enjoy this other rating climb over here. However, maybe you don't. If not, we have YouTube selection over here. Thanks for watching.